Good evening. It's been described as the biggest scandal in the history of the NHS. Up to 30,000 people infected with HIV and hepatitis C from contaminated blood products in the 1970s and 80s. A public inquiry is now underway into how this happened. A former consultant at Frimley Park Hospital in Surrey has been giving evidence. With more, here's Stacey Pool.
Well, we've been following this story now for decades, listening to the stories of what patients have endured after being infected with HIV or hepatitis C. And today I spoke to Melanie Richmond, who was infected as a child, and she says her whole life has been blighted.
It has destroyed my life. It has tainted me from the very first day that I was given that infusion, as in I became very poorly, and we were told that there was nothing wrong. Years of trying to justify why I feel the way I feel. I've tried to look after my children, and they have suffered through the treatment that I've had to go through and the illness as it's progressed. And we just need justice. And that is making these doctors accountable for their actions and for the truth to come out.
Well, what all the patients that I've spoken to find so hard to live with is what they call the cover-up. When did doctors know that factor VIII was dangerous? Why wasn't it stopped immediately? And more importantly, why weren't patients told of the dangers? Well, today, Dr Janet Shirley, a former consultant haematologist at Frimley Park Hospital who treated Melanie, was asked at the inquiry whether patients were informed about the risks.
I don't know whether they would have had knowledge of it or not. I don't remember discussing with a patient that my treatment might transmit hepatitis.
Do you accept, at least with the benefit of hindsight, that the practice you're describing ran the risk that patients were receiving treatment in circumstances where the potential risks of that treatment had not been explained to them?
Yeah, that is eminently possible.
Well, she went on to say that attitudes back in the 1980s were very different to those of today, and it wasn't always the practice to inform patients back then. It has been harrowing listening to this evidence for all of those affected, knowing that their lives could have been so different if only they had known the risks. The inquiry continues.